Scary story time. This story's by Miss Breeley, Native American Reservation Experience. I told another user I would post this experience, so buckle up. It's going to be a long one. I live in rural Idaho, about 5 miles from Res. Growing up, we heard all sorts of stories and legends surrounding the Res. I have to admit, I was a bit of a skeptic when it came to the nights we heard. My best friend and I have always been drawn to the paranormal. When we were about 16 or 17, we decided we'd go for drives on the Res at night. The area we live in has a very tight-knit community, and our little town has just over 10,000 people. We basically have no crime and everyone feels pretty safe. So driving around at night is no big deal. We went on our night drives fairly often with no experiences to note. One day, we had heard a story from someone at school about an abandoned schoolhouse on the other side of the reservation. Just past the schoolhouse, there was supposed to be a small bridge that went over a large farming canal. The story was, if you drove over to the bridge and turned your car off, you could hear water babies. If you don't know what water babies are, there are many different stories and legends stemming from Native American culture. Go look them up. So anyways, we decided that we were going to be on our next driving destination, and neither of us have heard about a water baby cry. So we were interested. The night after dark, we jumped into my car and started driving out there. The closer we got to the schoolhouse, the more uneasy I began to feel. We drove past the building that was supposedly the schoolhouse and stopped on the bridge. I cut the lights and killed the engine. Silence. There was no sound but the rushing water below the bridge. We sat there for what felt like forever. In reality, probably only about 45 minutes had gone by. We heard nothing but the water. We started joking about the story being fake and decided that it was a bust and to just go home. The keys were still in the ignition, so I simply tried to start the car. Nothing. The dash lights up, but it just wouldn't turn over. I've never had any problems with my car before like this. I tried a couple more times while talking with my friend. I wanted to freak her out. About the third or fourth time, I turned to her and I said, I don't want to freak you out or anything, but my car won't start. Her eyes grew wide and she responded with, "You're fucking with me, right?" I wish I had been. We sat there for a minute and started staring at each other, not knowing what to do. If we called my mom, there would definitely be some ass chewing for being out on the Res so late at night. So we decided to call one of our friends that had a truck. If the battery was just dead, he could just give us a jump. If not, he could tow us back to town. So we called and waited. Sitting in the middle of the bridge, in my dead car, frustrated from the lack of experience and car troubles, we wanted to go home. That's when I saw it. It was a well-known fact that the reservation had packs of wild dogs that roamed around killing livestock, and there had also been a few instances of them attacking kids and putting them in the hospital. This was no dog. I've seen coyotes and wolves, and there was no way in hell that this thing was either one of those things either. It was skeletal like a malnourished animal and walking on all fours, slow and low to the ground. It was walking along the canal towards the bridge. I smacked my friend, making her turn to look at what I was staring at. We both stared in disbelief at this creature slowly coming towards us. Instinctively, I honked the horn. At least, that still worked. That's where things got really weird. This thing stood up on its 2 legs, arms limped at its side. I legit screamed. I have never seen anything like this in my entire life. The best way I can think of it was to describe that it looked like the Professor Lupin's werewolf form in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban movie. It was freaking massive. It stood between 8 to 9 feet tall and was staring right at us. It took a couple steps forward. My friend and I were frozen. We were trapped in my car that wouldn't start. As it slowly started walking towards us, headlights appeared in the distance. As the lights came closer, the creature dropped back on all fours and took off for the hills where I assumed it came from. A friend pulled up to help us, and both my creeped out friend and I kept quiet about what we had just witnessed. He walked up to the car and rolled my window down. He suggested that we push the car off the bridge to the side of the road and pop the hood. So I threw it in neutral and got to it on the side of the road. My friend asked me to pop the hood and try to start the car, so I did. The damn car started right up. I don't know what caused it to not start before, but that night I had an experience I'll never forget. I don't go out on the Res anymore at night. I'd really rather not see whatever it was on that night again.